There are some of the functions which is already predefined with respect to the math concept. The arguments which you are passing to a main function, so that's what I will call it as a command line arguments. Any information which is related to that particular program, if you want to convey, so that you can use this particular part to explain or to express with the help of the comments. Hello everyone, I welcome all of you to the yet another interesting session on simple C# program. In my previous session, I have discussed the anatomy of the simple C# program, right? So hope all of you have seen that. Suppose if you have not seen that, so please go back and check. So in today's session also, I will be continuing the same topic with the different concepts. So what is that I have then in this session? Let me check that for all of you. So guys, I will be discussing what exactly command line arguments. Probably you would have come across with this statement, right? So yes, I will revisit this again in this C#. Along with that, so with the main class, what exactly is this? What exactly are you going to discuss about a main function with respect to a class? So keep a surprise. There is something interesting than any other programming languages. Alright, so providing interactive inputs using math function and the program structure. This is going to be very important. So this is the basic information which I will give you, but this is going to be very important. So let's start without wasting much of your time. So guys, command line arguments. The arguments which you are passing to a main function. So that's what I will call it as a command line arguments. So what exactly happens here? So please listen to me carefully. So guys, arguments in the sense what? So let's understand that. So first of all, arguments that are passed by command line. All right. So this is the statement that we need to understand. So imagine we have a cooking competition. So in that cooking, so we are preparing biryani. So if I want to prepare the biryani, so what is the ingredients that I need? So for example, I need rice. I need vegetables, I need garam masala, all those stuffs I need. Okay, so rice, vegetables, garam masala, all these things I will call it as a parameters are the arguments. So if I want to perform something, if I want to calculate some value, I need the parameters, I need the arguments. Okay, so that is what you need to remember here. I'm preparing what? Inside the program, I'm preparing the biryani. So for that preparation, I need to pass the arguments. So how do I pass the arguments? Hope you understood the concept of arguments now. How do I pass the arguments? I will pass the arguments with the help of command line. If you are passing the arguments with the help of command line, such arguments I will call it as a command line arguments. So fine. We are passing the arguments with the help of command line. So to which function are you passing? So to the main function I'm passing the command line arguments. That's what you need to remember. So fine, I understood that. I understood what is command line arguments, and I understood that I'm passing it to the main function. But when will I pass it? During the execution of the program, you will pass it. That's the important point that you need to remember. So three things you need to remember with respect to the command line arguments. I'll show you a simple program where you will understand this concept. So guys, I will be passing the arguments here. I'm passing the string arguments. Okay, so during the execution time, okay, whatever the arguments that I have, I will pass it to the main function. So this is what you need to understand. So this is all about the command line arguments. A simple C# program I have. So I will be passing the arguments here through the command lines, and this arguments will be sent to the main function, and later on I'll be using the arguments inside the program. So this is an example for command line argument concept. This is what you need to remember with respect to the command line argument concept. All right, so I have a simple C# program. So you all know that using system as a namespace, and your namespace name is what I have here, and the class name is a program, and then you have a main function. So here you have the arguments, string arguments you are passing, and then you have console.write line. So arguments length. Okay, so observe here. Okay, what is the arguments that I have? Argument.length. Okay, that's what I'm trying to print here. And then same way, I will be having a print statement, whatever you want. You can just have a print statement within the double quotes. It will be printed as it is. That's what you need to remember. And then I have a for each. You just ignore this right now. Let me not speak about it. Only the concept that you need to remember is I will be passing the argument here. So that's what I will call it as a command line argument. This is an example that you should remember. Fine, moving forward to the next one. Using mathematical functions. What is the meaning of using mathematical functions? Guys, we have something called predefined functions. Okay, especially it comes to math function. What is the meaning of math function? There are some of the functions which is already predefined with respect to the math concept. For example, here you can observe, okay, SQRT. What is the function that I'm using here? SQRT. What is the meaning of this SQRT? This is a math function. This is a predefined math function which will help me to calculate the square root of the x. Whatever the value that I have placed inside the x, for that I will calculate the square root. That's what you need to remember. So like this square root, I have n number of math functions. So which I have stored inside math. Okay, that math is a class. Okay, that in that class I have stored multiple predefined math methods or functions. So that is what I will call it as a using mathematical functions. That's what you need to remember so that I can use it in my program. So sir, why are you using it? Can't you write on your own a simple logic to calculate the square root? Of course I can write, but it is very little cumbersome for me. So easily I will be just using the predefined functions. Like, you know, we have power, we have ceil, we have floor, we have sine, cos, tan. All those things I just have to call the function. I don't have to write the logic for that. That's what you need to remember here. Alright, so that's all about the mathematical function. I'm not spending too much of time because already you all know about this. I'm just giving you a touch about this is what you need to remember. Alright, so multiple main functions. This is where I need to spend a little time with all of you. This is one of the beautiful features that we have in the C#. In all other programming language, you will have or you would have seen one main function, correct? So one main function. What is the use of main function? So from the main function, the execution of the program starts. Am I correct? Yes. But C# supports a special feature which can have more than one main function. So that is what you need to remember here. All right. So that's what I have here. Observe here. This is a program and it has got two classes which is having two main functions. Observe here also I have the main function and here also I have the main function. Observe the main functions which I have in two classes. Okay, this is the speciality of C#. But in any other programming language, I will have only one main function for the class. But here I will have two main functions in the program. That's what you need to remember. Okay, that is one of the special feature that you should remember. Just ignore the case. Okay, if you find like, you know, so M should be caps for main, just ignore. I'm just trying to give you the concept to all of you. All right, so hope you understood this concept. Moving forward to the next one that I have, a very important part of the class. This is what I wanted to explain to all of you. My dear students, you can expect this for 7 marks or 8 marks. This is going to be very important question. So all the previous things, whatever I have discussed, that's a basic thing that you should have. But this is going to be very important with respect to the exam point of view. We need to understand the basic structure of a C# program. So what is the basic structure of a C# program is what I'm trying to explain now. So what is the first thing that I have in my structure? The first thing what I will have is a documentation section. So probably in my previous session you would have seen, okay? So observe here, let me just take this example. Suppose if this is the program, I will have the comment like this, okay? So write a program. So whatever you want to do, okay? Write a program to introduce, all right, to introduce math function. Imagine like that. So this is what I will call it as a documentation section. Why do we need this documentation section? Any information which is related to that particular program, if you want to convey, so that you can use this particular part to explain or to express with the help of the comments. So that is what I will call it as a documentation section. That's the first section that you will encounter in the basic structure of a C# program. That's what you need to remember. All right, so fine. What is the next one that you have? Before going to the next one, please remember it's optional. Is it mandatory that I should have? No, it's not mandatory. It's optional. You can have or you can just ignore it. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. But if you want to become a good programmer, comments and the documentation is very, very important, because it will help the other person to go through your program very easily, so that if any modifications or the changes, if they want to do it, so it will help them. Or else you can also take another scenario. Say for example, I'm a software engineer, I'm working on a project. Okay, in middle, I'll not be able to continue the project. I have spent around 6 months on that particular piece of code, and I'm not able to continue because of my personal reasons. What happened at that time? Company has paid me for 6 months, but I have worked on that particular piece of code for 6 months, but I'm not able to complete it. But what I have done till now, only I know. So now I'm handing it over to some other person. What is the plight of that guy? You just imagine, because I will assume my own things and I will code the program, but all of a sudden he should continue that. How will he understand what I have coded? So to make him understand, I should follow some certain standards by using comments and quotes, so that even if he goes through that code, he should be able to understand what I have done. So that is the reason the documentation section is very, very important. Moving forward to the next one, using directive section. So guys, you all have noticed, all right? So we are using, okay, you should be small. So you should use a keyword called using, and followed by you will be writing the namespace. What is the meaning of namespace? So namespace contains the collection of predefined classes. So predefined classes in the sense, say here I have math like this, I will have multiple predefined classes. So if you want to include all those things, this is the section that you can include. All right, so that is the second section that you will come across, that too optional. But if you want to include, okay, so you have to include. There is no other go. So that's what you need to remember. Sir, I'm using the math function in my program. Should I include? Yes, of course you have to include. Since you are using that, so you have to include. That's our first point that you need to remember. And moving forward to the next one, that we have interface section. Guys, you need to remember there is something called interfaces. We have some issues with the inheritance. Okay, so because of that particular concept, so we are using the concept of interfaces. Sir, what is that issue? What is the meaning of interface? Imagine I will give you a car. Okay, imagine I will give you a car which does not have anything. It's just a skeleton. It's just the body of the car. So I will ask you to fit your own mag wheels and your own seats, your own color. So whatever the alterations or the modifications that you want to do it for that car, you're free to do it. But the skeleton I will give you. So that is the concept of interfaces. You will have a lot of abstract classes which is not implemented. Okay, so that is the meaning of interface. If you hear the word called interface, you need to remember there will be no implementation. So you should do it however you want. So that is a concept that you should remember. And we are using the concept of interfaces to solve a particular problem with respect to the inheritance. We don't have one type of inheritance. So what is that inheritance? I will explain that. So keep a thought in mind about this. Okay, so it is a surprise to all of you. So that's why we have the interface section. After using directories, we can have the interfaces. This is the place where you can have your interfaces. All right, so this is the section that you can have your interfaces. That's what you need to remember. Hope you got an idea about the interface. Now moving forward to the class section. I think I don't have to speak about the class section because we have already already discussed enough about the class in the previous session. So this is where you will have your class. All right, so your class will have the main function. Now I'm going to discuss about the main function, or that's going to be the main method section. Guys, main method, when it comes to the main method, the execution of the program starts from the main method. That's very, very essential. Without this, I cannot consider that program at all. So any program should have at least one main method is what you need to remember. All my functions will be defined, okay, inside the main function. That's what you need to remember. And this is the general structure or the basic structure of a C Ash simple program. All right. So by saying this, I think I've discussed in detail about the basic structure of the C Ash program. So this is there in your syllabus and a very important topic. By saying this, happy learning. Take care. Bye bye. See you in the next session with interesting topics. Thank you.